Hope was found as a stray in Crumpler, North Carolina by Animal Care and Control. So she was really just running in the street. So that were her conditions, and she was brought to our local shelter, Ashe County Animal Care and Control. She was put on a 3-day hold to see if anybody was missing her. And nobody came looking for her, which we didn't think anybody would, because she was skin and bones and in really, really bad shape. Apparently the animal control officer had told Second Chance Dogs of Ashe that once the 3-day hold was up that they were just going to euthanize her because she was so far gone. I happened to see her post on Facebook through Second Chance Dogs of Ashe, and immediately went out to the shelter, and when I saw her, my heart dropped.
Pathetic. That's all I can think of. When I looked at her, I cried. They had told me that she was bad when I was coming to the shelter, but I wasn't prepared for how bad she was, and the pictures don't do her justice. When I see her now, I'm proud. I'm proud of her. Aren't I, girl? Yes. Because she did it. When Hope was found, her teeth were ground down to her gums, and there's two things that could be a reason for. A, she was used for breeding, and they do that so that they can't fight back the male, or they use them to bait the other males in the fight who are fighting so they can see how good the males will fight. Female pit bulls were never used for fighting because they fight to the death. So I feel, my personal opinion, she was more used for breeding. She wasn't really beat up when she was found, but she's an older dog. Who knows, she could have done the other in her when she was younger. The teeth aren't something new. It's something they did a long time ago, because you can see that they're all even yellow underneath, so that's not anything that new that happened. So God knows what this little world's gone through. I pulled her, and she was heartworm positive, which I'm not, if you understand what heartworm is, heartworm's a very deadly, very costly disease. She came through her heartworm treatment with flying colors, and then she got spayed. And for 5 more months, we worked on her issues. At my house, it was tough. She was at the gate, at the fence. There was a lot of stuff going on at my house. But she eventually got used to the dogs that were at my house, and that calmed down. And there was no more at the fence. And about 3 months into it, I do a lot of pit bulls, and I had another male pit bull at my house who decided to climb the fence into her yard and engage her in play. And after that, I started introducing her to all the other boys, and she would be outside with 5, 6 boys playing in my yard. No problem. No girls. She likes the boys. Hope went into a foster care, who originally had wanted to adopt her. They fattened her up, they got her, they put a lot of weight on her, and they kept her through 6 of the 8 weeks of foster care. She crawled right up in the foster mom's lap, was in bed with them. She was very thankful to be out of that pound. She's always been a good people dog. Excellent with people, loves people. They had children, was great with their kids. No people aggression whatsoever. However, the stronger she got, the more her true self started to show, and she was becoming very aggressive with their cat and their small dog. And it was becoming apparent that she
was not safe for her to be there because she was really getting stronger and she was kind of getting cage crazy because going through heartworm treatment, you have to be confined for 8 weeks. You know, it's a very stressful time for the dogs. So I offered to take her to my house. And immediately there was chaos with all my big dogs. You know, she wanted to go at it head on. But we worked through it.
She hasn't shown any fear of people.
She was loving straight off the bat.
Ever since we met Hope, she's been really, really sweet with people. Sometimes when dogs have been loose for a long time, or if they've gotten lost in their stray, they start to become sort of fearful of people, and Hope didn't act like that. She was really people-oriented and very social with us right from the beginning. She's a people dog. She really seems to be dependent on people for comfort and for security. She was really attention-seeky, almost clingy, about almost desperate. and now I would say she is a people person. I do think that there's a fear component with her behavior towards other dogs, and I think she thinks they're sort of unpredictable and she wants them to stay away from her. No, I have not seen her be aggressive, and in fact the behaviors that she exhibits toward other dogs they seem to me to be more defensive. It's after the other dog starts making noise at her or approaches her too close that she gets really noisy with them. So it's possible that that's actually more defensiveness than aggressiveness. It does seem pretty angry though. She's okay, you know, she can walk near them as long as they don't start barking at her and carrying on, but she really doesn't care for that. Unfortunately, I think that her reactions to other dogs may be getting a little bit worse. And I think that may be because once she does that, if someone is walking another dog near her, they leave, you know, because they don't want to upset her, they don't want the dogs to get in an actual fight. So it's possible that she's learning that making a whole bunch of noise does make the threatening dog go away. It's also possible that just being in a glass, you know, behind the glass walls and in a shelter situation is hard, you know, it's hard on her, and because it is hard on dogs. They don't belong in a one bedroom. Even though this is a really, really beautiful shelter, it's still an animal shelter. It's not someone's home. So. Seen her, you know, again, get defensive with other dogs. Especially if they get up in her face, she really yells at them if they do that kind of thing. But she likes people in her face. She lets children hug her around the neck. She's very sweet.
She was great with kids. Yeah, the foster mom had kids, absolutely no problem. She's done great here with kids in the meet and greet.
It's hard on dogs to be in the shelter for a long time, and Hope's been here for more than 30 days, I think. So it's possible that at the very beginning she was a little bit less frustrated. She might have been happier, but she does get a lot of attention. She gets a lot of visits. She goes on a lot of walks. One of our volunteers has sort of taken her under his wing, and he spends extra special time with her every day. So I don't think she's lacking for attention or anything like that. So I really don't know. She never has stricken me as a scared, depressed, you know, damaged, like super damaged dog.
Well, I think Hope got a lot happier. She really started to flourish after her heartworm treatment, and she could run and play and be a dog again. And I'm not even sure she was able ever to be a dog. You know what I mean? She started playing fetch and running around the yard and coming and just, you know, having chew toys and having a life, huh? Having a life, little girl, that I never got to have before.
Want a treat? Sit? You shake? Shake? Good girl. Can you lay down? Can you lay down? Lay down.
There's a real personal point where you can start with just say having your own attitude about animals, you know, considering that and how empathetic can you be.
The more good information you have, the more it becomes your responsibility to share it without offending anybody, without preaching. You know, if if you know of a situation where you could tell someone something that might change the way they're treating an animal for the better, I really think it's everybody's responsibility to share that information. And I think that education is really the key to fixing pretty much every single problem there is.
I think it's really important that people understand what happens in the community and to not only the animals in the community but other people in the community. I think we have a responsibility to everything else around us that's alive to have some responsibility to that.
I think the first thing people need to do is educate. Start in the schools. I personally feel there should be a pet education class in school systems.
Absolutely.
You know, we did the whole with the drugs. And now they tell children, if you see something going on in your home that has to do with drugs, you need to tell the authorities. I feel children need to tell. I did 2 summers in a row with the 4-H, and the stories the kids were telling me about, oh, well, what daddy did to my kitty or what daddy did to my puppy were breaking my heart. And I think if children knew that that was wrong, and you need to tell the authorities that things aren't right at your house with the animals, and let the kids get involved, I think that's one of our most important things, because it's generation after generation after generation have said it's okay. This is how we did it, that's how we did it, that's how we did it. And that's what happened with children, you know, in the whole 9 yards. So I think it starts with the kids. I think it starts with not being afraid. Speak up. If you see something that you don't think is right, call your animal control director, call the sheriff, tell somebody, you know, call somebody that you know is an animal rescue person. I have a neighbor who's not feeding their dog, and I think somebody needs to check. Get involved, and then try to change laws. You know, try to change the laws that you feel. Right now in North Carolina, it's called adequate housing. There's a bill in the Senate right now going through the House that they're going to change what adequate housing is. Finally, we're going to be able to say, because right now, adequate housing could be in care for top turnover, and that's where the dog can live. It's not adequate housing. For you, it's not. For me, it's not. For you, it's not. But for somebody else, they might think it is. So to get involved, teach our children, don't be afraid to speak up. You know, start programs for the younger generation. You know, start programs that you can raise money to build fences for dogs that are chained. To bring dog houses over for dogs that you see are in need. Raise money to do low-cost spay neuter for maybe a neighbor you know that's having puppies. Everybody can get involved. And little by little will make a difference, right, honey? Right? Little by little.
I think we also need to be aware when we have situations where something is suffering unnecessarily.
And animal rescue comes from your heart. You're either born with it or you're not. A lot of people love animals, a lot of people care about animals, but for those of us that have been doing it a long time, I say it's a curse. It's a curse to feel that pain and to want to do something.
Yeah.
And to lay your head down at night and cry for the ones that you know are out there in the freezing cold. Some days I wish I could go to bed and not care.
First of all, it matters if you're kind. That just plain old matters. And if you don't know anything about how to care for animals and how to treat them, you might make mistakes and be unkind even without realizing it.
Animal abuse is always going to be there. Humans, there's evil out there in the world, and it's always going to be there. But if people start to stand up and say, we're not going to take it anymore, and I am going to take action, and I am going to use my voice, because they don't have one, things will start to change little by little. I think they will. What do you think?